Little bit of magic. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the podcast of the Ordinary Maverick. This is Ajay, your host, an ordinary Maverick, sharing real life thoughts and experiences and Maverick tips. If you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, please do so, and you will not miss another episode. Magic. Fascinating stuff, right? Well, being Mavericks at heart, we have a bond of sorts with magic. At least I believe so. We believe in magic, we understand magic. Hope you all will agree with me. Well, let's unpack this a little bit more. So, what is magic? Not sure if we ever realized, but there are many different definitions of magic, or rather, that magic is referred to in so many different ways. Like there is ceremonial magic, which is about the rituals of magic. Then there is chaos magic, which is contemporary magical practice developed in England in the 1970s. And then just the word magic or illusion is the art of appearing to perform supernatural feats. It's described as the application of beliefs, rituals, or actions employed in the belief that they can manipulate natural or supernatural beings and forces. Then there is this whole aspect of magical thinking, which is the belief that unrelated events are causally connected, particularly as a result of supernatural effects. And when you spell magic with a K, so it's Magick, that's a term used to distinguish ceremonial magic from performance magic. You have medieval European magic, magic in Europe during the Middle Ages, and Renaissance magic, which is magic in Europe during the Renaissance. Gosh, when I started researching about magic, all these different aspects that came out were really fascinating. But how does magic work? It relies on powerful psychological illusions, and magicians create their tricks by exploiting gaps and errors in our conscious experience. For example, magicians use misdirection to manipulate what you attend to, and this allows them to control what you see and, more importantly, what you miss. I recall hearing about this amazing act that was done by one of the famous magicians during a show in London. The show was to start at 7 p.m. and all the guests were seated at 6:55 and waiting excitedly. Time passed and guests were getting restless. The minutes ticked by and there was no sign of the show starting. Everyone was getting kind of impatient. And then at 8 p.m., the show starts and the famous magician walks onto the stage. There was a murmuring through the crowd as people were not happy with the show starting late. And then he took the mic and said, "Hello everyone, here we are, and starting right on time at 7 p.m." And the audience of more than 1,000 people looked at their watches, and yes, the time was 7 p.m. It was a master act in motion. He received a standing ovation, and the show was a huge success. The power of illusion is very strong and makes life interesting. Our brains are hardwired to think magically. Whichever way you look at it, we do not think in terms of statistics. We act on impulse and intuition. We think more with our gut rather than our brains, and that's one of the reasons why we are prone to believe in the magical rather than the logical. And the first component of the Maverick formula is go with your gut. Perhaps that's why, like many of us, I too love magic and have done so since I was little and enjoyed learning some tricks too. I started with small tricks, with cards, etc., and then slowly started getting better at it. I have this matchbox trick that I'm good at and love performing it when the chance comes up. One of my best memories is doing this trick under this beautiful black night sky with zillions of stars surrounded by friends around the campsite and everyone paying full attention. The trick was super successful and I was surrounded by all the young boys who wanted to, learn how to do it. I'm sure this scenario is familiar to all who have kids at home and have arranged magicians for parties, especially children's birthday parties, which definitely is the most fun thing ever and often the highlight of the evening. Kids are spellbound with all the tricks and then surely want to learn them too. So you see, our love affair with magic starts when we are little. Remember the peekaboo games we play with babies? hiding our face behind our hands and then opening them to the smile, or then hiding behind a wall or a door and jumping out and back in. And the way the babies react, they love it. See, that's the thing. We like fantasies. Our brains are hardwired to think magically. Whichever way you look at it, we do not think in terms of statistics. We act on impulse and intuition. We think more with our gut rather than our brains. And that's one of the reasons why we are prone to believe in magical rather than the logical. And of course, there are the books and the movies. We have all imagined ourselves in Hogwarts, the famous school of wizardry, and the amazing Harry Potter series. And then there are magic tricks in a circus or a special magician show. We went to a circus when our kids were little, and the magic act brought the house down. Fascinating stuff, including a woman being cut into pieces, lying inside a box, and then the box being cut up into pieces, and the woman's body being cut up, head and shoulders in one box, torso in one, and the legs in another. The audience was spellbound. And then, just as by magic, the boxes are joined again and the woman was whole. Well, most people go home after these performances, right? But we went backstage. Yes, it was pretty crazy. Went and met the magician and his performers. In a way, it was a bit depressing. The conditions backstage weren't the best. When one sees the lights and colors, it masks reality. But most of the time, the living conditions in these traveling circuses are not the best for both humans and animals. And today, there is a lot more awareness about circuses, and most especially for the animals and their welfare. But where did it all start? Of course, the art of magic is ancient and dates back thousands of years. But the history of modern magic is from 1845, when a magic theater was opened in Paris by Jean Eugene Robert Houdin, who was originally a clockmaker. He is known today as the father of modern magic and responsible for transforming magic from something performed at fairs to a performance that the public paid to see at the theater. I want to talk about magic in the ordinary. I see a deep link with magic and the Maverick formula. Magic is about being in the moment. It's about unleashing the power of illusion. Have you heard about thinking your way into making it happen? It's like, if you can think about it, visualize it, and then you can make it happen. There are many examples of this. I've experienced this in my life, and we as a family have done so too. I mean, look at how we find our soulmates. Pure magic, right? Out of the 7.9 billion people on this planet, we managed to find that one person with whom we connect and spend the rest of our lives. Or just think about your close friends. Again, magical. That connections were made despite the crowds and scores of people around us. Believe in magic and it will happen. That's the first step. I see this with little kids. They just believe magic. I recall our girls and the magic of Santa. We kept it alive for quite a number of years until they kind of figured it out themselves. But the conviction with which they wrote their letters to Santa and the confidence on Christmas mornings that Santa had come and left presents by the tree, drunk their milk, and had cookie was just so compelling that I almost started believing it myself. The wonders of childhood, so magical. I recall a trip to Disneyland with our girls when they were just 4 and 5 years old. One of our best trips ever. The girls were in awe of the beautiful castle and meeting the princesses. My younger one, in fact, went up to Cinderella and was picking up her dress. When asked what she was doing, she said, "I'm checking for the glass slipper." Such an adorable moment. Made even more so when Cinderella played along and said, "Yes, she's wearing the glass slipper." That's what I mean, being in the present and enjoying the magic of the moment. The joy and radiance that comes out just permeates in you, and everything else just falls in place. As adults, we tend to complicate matters and do too many things at one time. Multitasking is what we call it. But believe me, it takes away the magic. There is no time to really enjoy what we are doing. So here is a tip. Get your magical tribe together. What do I mean? It's about surrounding yourself with people that are ready to explore the unknown, have fun, and experience magic in their lives. Children do this best, always ready to do new things, right? Well, we need to get that magic back in our lives. We've been lucky in that way, always manage to strike a chord with people that think the same. And you know what? Regardless of the time or distance, the magic remains. Quite recently, we connected with a great group of friends, all of whom were happy to just experience the fun of the moment and just enjoy. When like minded souls connect, there's an energy and vibration that is palpable and contagious. And then the details. Magic is all about details. When you pause and look, really, really look at all the details in your life, look at the sky, really experience the sip of coffee, that's when the power of magic, the joy of magic strikes you. We are surrounded by magic, fellow Mavericks. Just need to open our eyes, our minds, hearts, and soul to experience it. Do keep writing your comments and sharing your feedback at theordinarymaverick@gmail.com and follow me on Instagram, #theordinarymaverick. I love hearing from you. This is Ajay signing off and wishing you have an amazing day, a super amazing year. Keep well, stay safe. Credits. This podcast series was put together as a team effort from the Bhardwaj family. Concept, design, title, researchers, and reviewers Ajay, Sanjana, Avantika, and Niharika Bhardwaj. Script, Sanjana. Cover design, Niharika. All rights reserved.